and welcome back to the Magpie Library. Today I want to make a video of all the books that I read in August and then kind of talk about my plans for next month. Let me just put these in order real quick. So for next month, my goal is to read a couple more books than what I've read this month. I've read 6 books this month, but my friend really wants me to read the ACOTAR series, so reading 6 books is probably not going to happen next month, but that's okay. I read when I can, and then October, I'm going to be hitting my TBR jar and my horror books hard because spooky season is my favorite season. I read horror all year round, but October is like nothing but horror and dark thriller. So, as always, let's start out with what we're currently reading, which is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I'm enjoying this book. It's been definitely out of my wheelhouse, but we'll get there. This is the first book in the series. My friend wants me to at least read the first 2 before I say yay or nay on if I'm going to continue the series. So, wish me luck. We'll finish this up and then we'll start the second one. So I read 6 books in the month of August. It's kind of been horror heavy. I've got 1 romance, 4 horrors, and 1 thriller in the mix. And it's been a pretty good time for the most part this month. The first book I read was for my work book club that we do. We meet the last Saturday of every month to discuss. Supposed to be the book we read. It's normally like 5 minutes of discussing the book we read and then talking about our favorite books and then drawing a book for the following month. So it's always a really good time. This month's pick was Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. I gave this book 4 stars. It is very dark and heavy, but I really enjoyed the book. It is basically about these 2 characters that can't stand each other. Cora Lawson and her sister's husband, Dean Asher. And they get stuck in a horrendous situation where they get trapped in a basement together. And truths come to the surface that they never thought would ever be said aloud just to get through the day with everything that they're going through. So this book follows their story, and while it's very heartwarming at the end, it is very sad to see and read about all the stuff that's happening to both of them. So 4 stars, really good book, good way to start off the month. The next book is the first of the 4 horror books, and that is Daphne by Josh Mallerman. This is a story about a girl who is playing on her high school basketball team, and one night before a game, her and her teammates meet up and they start telling ghost stories, and somebody mentions the story of Daphne, who, if you think about her, the more you think about her, the closer she gets to and you, basically. This story is written in a way that you feel anxious the entire time you're reading it. I didn't like it at first, and then I realized I didn't like it because anxiety is a very uncomfortable feeling, and that was portrayed very, very well in this book. This was another 4-star book for me for this month, and I do want to read it again now that I know that what I'm feeling is supposed to be felt. I think I'll get a new experience out of this book, so this was a really, really good time. The next 2 books that I read are part of a series. They are the first 2 in the series, and the reason I read both of them was because I own them. I do not like to get rid of books that I haven't read yet, and I definitely don't like to DNF books that I paid for. So I don't like DNFing books in general, but neither here nor there. It is Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesare, and it is basically about a girl named Quinn Maybrook who moves to a small town in Missouri. Her dad becomes a town doctor, and they have this really weird, basically mascot of the town named Fendo the Clown. And one night at a party, shortly after Quinn arrives, there are several Frendos dressed up killing off the teenagers, and so Quinn and her friends want to stop it and figure out why it's even happening in the first place. The book was really good for what it was. It is, I feel, more YA than what I'm used to in my horror books. I don't rate the YA very harsh, especially if it's my fault not realizing it was YA before I bought it. This is a 3-star. It's a fun time. I enjoyed myself for what it was. It's not one that I would really probably ever read again. I've read better horror books. Also, slasher horror is not really my thing. I prefer more of the supernatural or the possession or the creature books. But it was fine for what it was. 3 stars. In that same vein, we have Clown in a Cornfield 2, Fendo Lives. This is following the massacre, and more weird stuff is happening, and you're following the characters kind of through essentially the same thing. So this is the second book in the series. The third book is The Church of Fendo, and then if I'm not mistaken, I believe I heard or read something that a 4th one is coming out. I won't be continuing the series. I enjoyed my time with it when I did, but I am not the right target audience for this. Okay, the last horror book that I read this month, I would describe as more of like a dark horror fantasy than a straight horror book. It was a really, really good time, and that is Krampus the Yule Lord. I am not a mood reader or a seasonal reader, but this book I feel like would have benefited from being in the wintertime, sitting in my chair in front of the fireplace with my lights and my tree up. This was a 5-star book for me. It is action-packed and brutal and funny and heartwarming all in one book. It is basically about Jesse Walker, who is the main character, and you're following him on the journey of learning about Krampus and learning about Santa Claus and which one is right, which one is wrong. Krampus and Santa have a battle in this book, and it's fantastic. I enjoyed my time with it a lot. So I really enjoyed it because it brought light to the old Yuletide traditions and the more modern Christian Christmas traditions, and I enjoyed this book a lot. It didn't slander either one. It was open and honest about both of what both of them were, and I greatly appreciated that a lot. So 5 stars for Krampus by Brom. And the last book that I read, because I don't normally tandem read, but because of the sheer size of this Krampus book as compared to like a normal book, I was afraid it was going to get damaged while I was out going to and from work. So this one I only read at night when I was home, and I didn't have to worry about it getting messed up. And that took a lot out of me because I was reading a second book at the same time, and I don't do that. I don't like to do that, but to get me kind of out of my reading slump, I picked up The Wife Upstairs by Frieda McFadden. I enjoy Frieda. She's a very quick read. She's got easy to understand language. It's not like you have to really think about it. So this was a fun time. This is not my favorite book by her. This is very similar to another book that I read by another author. So I don't know, probably 50 pages into this 400-page book, I vaguely knew what was going to happen, which is weird for a Frieda book. If you've ever read a Frieda book, it is very twisty and you never know what's going to happen. It comes out of left field. So I love Frieda, not my favorite book by her. This was a 3-star book. I'm not going to tell you what it's about because then you're going to be able to compare it to one of the other books. So if you're interested, look it up on Goodreads and just read what it's about. Pick it up if you want to. It's a great way to get out of a reading slump. Not my favorite, but middle of the road. So these are all of the books that I read this month, in the month of August, minus ACOTAR. I'm still reading ACOTAR. It'll be done by September, so it'll be in that one. But I had a pretty good month. My son started kindergarten this month, so we are falling into a new routine, and it's been different. My son and I don't really like change, so it's been very weird. It is nice to sleep in a little bit later in the morning, so because I'm not driving the complete opposite direction of my work. So that has been nice, but Other than that, we've just been hanging out, reading when I can. We've been enjoying the beautiful weather. It's been low 80s, high 60s this last week, and it's been so nice. So we're enjoying that before it gets really hot again. So as always, if you have any book recommendations, please drop those down in the comments. I would love to read other people's favorite books. And then if you like this video, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week in the library. Bye!